The rain tasted of rust and fear, not the clean, metallic tang you'd expect, but something thick and cloying like blood diluted in a storm. It was the kind of night where the city exhaled its secrets, and mine, I discovered, were etched in the slick, unforgiving pavement. I was running not from anything tangible, but from the echo of a scream that had ripped through the suffocating silence of my apartment, a scream that had been my own. It wasn't the scream of terror or pain, but of a raw, primal release, a shattering of the delicate glass cage I'd built around myself. It started with the letter, a single folded piece of paper slipped under my door, devoid of an address or signature, just a single, elegantly scripted sentence. He knows. I'd laughed, a brittle, nervous sound that cracked against the emptiness of the room, dismissing it as a cruel prank. But then the shadows began to lengthen, the familiar creaks of the old building morphed into whispers, and the reflection in the darkened window wasn't quite mine. It was a phantom, an echo, a ghost of someone I'd buried deep, someone I'd thought was gone. I'd spent years constructing a life, a carefully curated facade of normalcy, a life that involved a fiancée, a woman with eyes like summer skies, a woman I genuinely cared for, but a woman who was a shield, a buffer against the truth that clawed at my insides, the truth that the letter had unearthed, the truth that I had never been able to admit, not even to myself. The truth that the touch of her hand felt like a cold contract, while the memory of another touch, a touch I'd tried to drown in a sea of denial, burned like a brand. I'd told myself it was a fleeting moment of weakness, a desperate grasp for connection in a lonely city. But the truth, the horrible, beautiful truth, was that the first time he touched me, a casual brush of fingers against mine during a chaotic late-night cafe shift, something shifted inside me, a seismic tremor that rearranged the very foundations of my being. It wasn't the touch itself, but the way it felt, like a live wire sparking against my skin, a recognition, a homecoming. And then the letter, it wasn't just he knows, it was he knows you remember. And suddenly, the rain felt like a confession, the city's whispers, a chorus of witnesses to a secret I'd tried to bury alive. The twist, he wasn't a person, not exactly. It was a memory, a ghost, a fragment of myself I'd rejected. And the scream, it wasn't a scream of fear, but a scream of recognition, of finally letting go. The fiancé, the life, the shield, all shattered in that moment. The run wasn't a flight, but a pilgrimage, a desperate attempt to trace the phantom footsteps of a memory that had become a haunting. The cafe, a dimly lit sanctuary of mismatched furniture and the perpetual aroma of burnt coffee, was a ghost of its former self, the late-night bustle replaced by the eerie stillness of a closed establishment. The rain, now a relentless torrent, mirrored the chaos within me, each drop a relentless reminder of the night I'd tried to forget. I remembered the way the fluorescent lights had cast long, distorted shadows, the way the air crackled with a nervous energy, the way his eyes, the color of storm clouds, had held mine for a fraction of a second too long. His name was Kai, a whirlwind of chaotic energy, a musician with fingers that danced across guitar strings like they were weaving spells. He'd been a regular, a fixture in the late-night crowd, a silent observer with eyes that seemed to see right through me. That night the cafe had been a cacophony of voices, a symphony of clinking mugs and whispered conversations. I was a whirlwind of caffeine and anxiety, juggling orders and trying to ignore the persistent tremor in my hands. And then the touch. A simple, accidental brush of fingers as he reached for his change, a fleeting moment that had ignited a firestorm within me. It wasn't just the physical sensation, but the way his touch had felt like a recognition, a silent acknowledgement of something I'd buried deep. I'd recoiled, a startled animal, and fled, disappearing into the chaos of the cafe, pretending it hadn't happened. But it had, and the memory, like a persistent phantom limb, had haunted me ever since. The twist came when I found a small, worn guitar pick tucked beneath the door of the cafe, a pick with a single faded symbol etched onto it, a symbol I recognized from a dream I dismissed as a product of stress. The symbol was a stylized infinity loop, a symbol Kai had worn as a pendant. I remembered the dream, a surreal landscape of shifting shadows and whispering voices, a dream where Kai's voice echoed, not with words, but with a feeling, a sense of belonging, a sense of being seen. I began to realize that the he wasn't just a memory, but a part of a larger, interconnected puzzle. The infinity symbol wasn't just a symbol, but a key to unlocking a part of myself I'd suppressed, a part of myself that resonated with Kai's touch, a part of myself that had been screaming to be heard. The fiancé, the life I'd built, felt like a stage set, a meticulously crafted illusion that was crumbling around me. It was like living a lie, and the truth was a tidal wave about to drown me. The guitar pick, cold and metallic against my trembling fingers, became a compass, guiding me through the labyrinthine streets, each turn a step closer to the truth, a step further away from the life I'd constructed. The rain, relentless and unforgiving, mirrored the storm raging within me, a tempest of conflicting emotions, of buried desires and long-forgotten dreams. I found myself drawn to a small, unassuming music venue, a place Kai had mentioned in passing, a place he called the Echo Chamber. The name itself sent a shiver down my spine, a feeling of being pulled into a vortex, a place where secrets resonated and echoes lingered. The venue was dark, the only light emanating from a single bare bulb hanging above the stage, casting long, distorted shadows that danced across the empty room. The air was thick with the scent of stale beer and the lingering ghost of music, a melancholic melody that seemed to hang in the silence. I found a worn, leather-bound notebook lying on a dusty table, its pages filled with Kai's handwriting, a swirling script that seemed to dance across the page. The entries were fragmented, poetic musings, cryptic messages that spoke of a connection beyond the physical, a bond forged in the realm of dreams and shared memories. He wrote of a feeling of recognition, of finding a missing piece, of a soul that resonated with his own. He wrote of a touch, a simple brush of fingers that had ignited a spark that had illuminated a path he'd been searching for his entire life. He wrote of me, and he wrote of the infinity symbol, a symbol that represented an endless cycle, a connection that transcended time and space. The twist arrived when I found a small, hidden compartment in the notebook, containing a faded photograph, a photograph of two children, their hands intertwined, their faces blurred and indistinct. One of the children was Kai. I recognized the storm cloud eyes, the mischievous grin. The other child, the child whose face was obscured by a smudge of time, was me. It was a photograph from a childhood I didn't remember, a childhood that had been erased, replaced by a fabricated narrative, a carefully constructed lie. This wasn't just about a touch or a memory, it was about a connection that predated my conscious existence, a connection that had been deliberately severed. The realization hit me like a physical blow, a shattering of the illusion I'd lived for so long. The fiancé, the life, the future I'd envisioned all felt like a borrowed script, a performance I'd been forced to play. The idea that someone had manipulated my past, had stolen my memories, filled me with a cold, terrifying rage. The he wasn't just a memory or a fragment of myself, but a missing piece, a part of myself that had been stolen, and Kai, the man I'd dismissed as a fleeting encounter, was the key to reclaiming it. The rage, a burning ember in my chest, fueled a desperate need to find Kai, to confront him, to understand the truth behind the stolen memories, the fabricated life. The echo chamber, once a place of haunting echoes, now felt like a battleground, a place where I would reclaim my stolen identity. I searched the venue, every darkened corner, every hidden alcove, but Kai was gone, vanished like a phantom, leaving behind only the lingering scent of his music and the cryptic messages in his notebook. The rain continued its relentless assault, mirroring the turmoil within me, the feeling of being lost in a storm, adrift in a sea of uncertainty. I found a hidden door behind the stage, a door that led to a narrow, winding staircase that descended into the depths of the building. The air grew thick and heavy, the silence broken only by the rhythmic drip of water and the echo of my own footsteps. The staircase led to a hidden basement, a dimly lit space filled with dusty instruments and forgotten relics of past performances. In the center of the room, a single spotlight illuminated a grand piano, its keys gleaming like ivory teeth in the darkness. And on the piano, a single sheet of music, a melody that seemed to resonate with the deepest parts of my soul, a melody I recognized from the dream where Kai's voice had echoed with a feeling of belonging. As I touched the sheet music, a wave of memories flooded my mind, vivid and visceral, like a long-forgotten film reel suddenly playing in sharp focus. I saw myself as a child, laughing, running through a field of wildflowers, holding hands with another child, Kai. I saw us playing together, sharing secrets, creating our own world, a world where our connection was undeniable, unbreakable. I saw the moment our memories were stolen, a blinding flash of light, a sense of disorientation, and then nothing. The twist came when I realized the melody wasn't just a song, but a key, a sonic key that unlocked the suppressed memories, a key that had been carefully hidden, waiting for the right moment to be played. The music wasn't just a melody, it was a language of the soul, a language that transcended words and logic. I understood then that Kai wasn't just a part of my past, he was a part of my essence, a missing piece of my soul. The fiancé, the life I'd built, was a carefully constructed illusion, a barrier erected to keep me from the truth, a truth that was now screaming to be heard. The feeling that he knew grew because suddenly so did I. I knew that I was meant to be with him. I knew that the touch was a recognition, a remembering. I knew that the music was the key. The music, now a vibrant, pulsating force within me, led me out of the basement, back into the rain-soaked streets. A siren call guiding me towards a destination I didn't yet know but felt deep within my bones. The city, once a labyrinth of confusion, now seemed to pulse with a hidden rhythm, a resonance that mirrored the melody playing in my mind. I followed the feeling, the pull, the undeniable sense of belonging, until I found myself standing before a small, unassuming bookstore, its windows glowing with a warm, inviting light. Inside, the air was thick with the scent of old paper and the soft murmur of turning pages. And there, amidst the shelves, stood Kai, his storm cloud eyes filled with a mixture of relief and anticipation. He held a worn, leather-bound journal, its pages filled with the same swirling script I'd seen in his notebook. But this journal contained a different story, a story of two souls intertwined, a story of a love that transcended time and memory. He spoke of a connection that had been forged in childhood, a bond that had been deliberately broken, a love that had been stolen and hidden but never extinguished. He explained that the memories had been taken not by malice but by a desperate attempt to protect us, to shield us from a force that sought to control our connection, a force that feared the power of our love. He revealed that the fiancé, the life I'd built, had been a carefully orchestrated illusion, a construct designed to keep us apart, to keep me from remembering. The final twist, the revelation that shattered the last vestiges of my fabricated reality, came when he showed me the last entry in the journal, a passage that spoke of a choice to remember or to forget, a choice that had been made for me but that I now had the power to reclaim. The entry ended with a single haunting phrase. The first time he touched you, you knew. The first time you touched him, he knew. The first time we touched, they knew, and they feared the we. It wasn't just about a romantic love, it was about a profound, almost cosmic connection, a bond that threatened the very fabric of their reality. The touch, the memory, the music, it was all a part of a larger, intricate design, a tapestry woven with threads of fate and destiny. The realization hit me with the force of a tidal wave, washing away the last remnants of doubt and confusion. The meant-to-be wasn't a simple romantic notion, but a fundamental truth, a cosmic certainty. The touch, the first touch, wasn't just a moment of recognition, it was a reawakening, a reclaiming of a stolen part of myself. The he and I were not just individuals, but halves of a whole, a single entity fractured and then rejoined. The ending, the final, shattering truth was that the they who had stolen our memories, who had tried to keep us apart, were not external forces but fragments of ourselves, aspects of our own psyche that had feared the power of our unified self. The fight wasn't against an outside enemy but against the internal shadows that had kept us apart. The meant-to-be was the rediscovery of a whole self.